not what a Ferrari's supposed to sound like.
Not quite.
Here we go. All right, happy Thanksgiving to all our American friends. We just happened to be in the States not too long ago, and I know you guys want F350 content, and it will be coming up next, driving down the road. But that video is getting edited right now. In the meantime, I wanted to show you guys Mike's build and also tell you guys about our Black Friday deals. We have the deals year round. If you're a Builder member, you get 30% off of our merch all the time. And you also get discounts to all of the partners that we work with. When we put stuff onto our build, we trust that it's good quality and we want to give you guys the same discounts that we get. We do have a giveaway that only has 6 days left. That is our sniper giveaway that has the air cleaner signed by Derek from Vice Grip Garage and myself. That's off the Bronco. You know the Bronco's getting a Coyote. Check out debossgarage.com. If you're a builder, tons of discounts. In the meantime, Mike was gracious to allow us into his shop. Very, very cool stuff coming up. Check this out. Here we go. All right, so we are in Costa Mesa, California with Mike from StanceWorks. How's it going, Mike?
Good, how are you?
Good. We actually bought a vehicle off of Mike and we've been thrashing on it for the last few days. It's funny because we're actually a little bit different builders, but yet we've gotten along so well. We wanted to do a feature on his Ferrari, even though our normal thing is that I drive it and we go grab a coffee. Sorry guys, it's not gonna happen because I am not gonna climb in this beautiful car. We're dirty, but I do want you guys to know all about it. So Mike, tell us a little bit about it. What exactly is it?
It began as a 1981 Ferrari 308 GTBI, which is a mouthful. But to paraphrase what all of that means, 308 means 3.0 liter 8-cylinder engine. GTBI is Gran Turismo Berlinetta. It's a coupe hardtop, simple as that.
Okay.
If we look at the back of the car in a few, you'll see it's now badged 244 GTK. Gives a bit of a hint of what's inside because under the hood is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged Honda K24. It's it's not really, there's not much Ferrari left on this thing at all.
Nice. You're like me, did you get any hate from that?
A lot, yeah.
Really?
Mostly from Ferrari purists. So for the most part, anybody that owns one of these cars, and the joke kind of is the guys that own these, they usually don't own the big, fancy, really expensive Ferraris, but because they own one of these, they imagine that they do, and they think it's the greatest car ever built. And as soon as you insult it or start changing it in any way, they're not happy about it. And so when I said, hey, this thing is heavy and it's underpowered, we got to fix both those things, that didn't go over well on the Ferrari forum.
I remember the first video, I think you took it for a drive, one of the earlier videos, and it like let you down immediately.
Oh yeah, if I had spent the money that this car cost and what I wanted was just this car, I'd be super disappointed. So it's 3,200 pounds. It's a heavy car for its size. It's about the size of a Miata, and it made 163 horsepower at the wheels. Nice. So, you know, it's probably on par with a tractor.
Nice. Now, how long have you been working on it?
I bought this car bone stock 2 years ago in like a couple of weeks. So pretty much 2 years focused more or less entirely on this thing.
Nice. If you guys were into SEMA or watched any of the broadcasts about SEMA, you did bring it. You made it. Running, moving under its own power. And you won what award?
Pit and Paddock's best high performance build of SEMA, which is pretty cool. They do 2 awards every year, the best show car and the best performance car. They'd let me take home the best performance award, which is pretty cool because there's a lot of really big deal cars there.
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen this build, the entire thing is documented on Mike's channel, StanceWorks, start to finish, the teardown, the build, and you can tell that there is a massive passion for what you do and the detail that you put into it. Our builds are all over the place, so we were thrashing the last few days and we are a little bit different, but it's amazing how we still managed to work together. And I know your audience, Just to show.
Yeah, it's perfect. The right way and the better way.
Yeah.
No, it's been really fun to work with somebody else in the shop. I don't get an opportunity to do that very often. I mean, obviously my circle of friends will be in here helping out on occasion, but honestly, I've really never had anybody else tackle a project in here. It was a ton of fun to work with you guys.
Awesome.
You guys were efficient, clean. You knew exactly what you were doing. You had a plan.
Nice.
And so just to immerse myself in that, and honestly, for once, just kind of have somebody else tell me, "Hey, Mike, can you knock that out? Can you knock that out?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem. I'm just coasting. I'm going wherever you need." It was fun. It was a ton of fun.
Nice. But we're not gonna talk about us. You'll see those videos. Keep your eye open for that. But more to the Ferrari. Like, what was the idea? Did you know that this was what it was gonna be? This is what you had in your head?
100%. So I knew I wanted a Ferrari 308. I've always kind of had a thing for them. My stepdad started looking into them like 15 or so years ago when they were like rock bottom prices. You could get one for $25,000, which is still a good chunk of money. But when you're talking about a V8 Ferrari that looks like this, that's a pretty banging deal. It got my gears turning about maybe someday I could own one, but of course since then the price has just continued upwards. But I kind of timed my Hummer H1 purchase really well. The market went crazy. I sold it and said it's now or never. I'm gonna buy myself a 308. It's kind of my dream car. But I bought it knowing we were gonna tear it apart. So I knew immediately we were gonna pull the engine out and go with a Honda K series, and I knew that we would put the whole wide body setup on it. Of course, I didn't think the project would go as insane as it did, because at this point, literally the only Ferrari parts left on the car is the steering column and the steering rack. That's it. There is not one suspension component, not one line, wire, nothing left on it.
And the body, right?
Yeah, technically speaking, if you want to get really nerdy about it, the body's made by Pininfarina, not Ferrari.
Oh, really?
So real Ferrari nerdy type dudes say you buy the Ferrari, you get a Pininfarina body with it. So yeah, we basically don't have any Ferrari left.
Nice. That's a Ferrari can't repo it.
No, hopefully not. I'm still waiting for that cease and desist letter. Everybody always says, is that going to happen? When's it going to happen? Honestly, I keep taunting them. I tag them on Instagram constantly. I keep trying to say, hey, let's see your chops. Send me that letter. Because I'd frame it. I want it real bad. I don't think I'm going to get it, but you never know.
Nice. Okay, so what is the main purpose of the car? Like road legal or?
Road legal. So I want to drive the car on the street, mostly just because after this much time investment and money investment, I don't want a car that I can't enjoy when I want to. But the actual purpose of the car is to go time attack racing. That's why it's got such a ridiculous aero package on it. So the big wing, the diffuser underneath, the side skirts, the splitter, the total flat bottom underneath it. It's all to develop a bunch of downforce because I want to get this thing out to the track and go as fast as I possibly can.
Nice. Did you design the aero or?
No, so the aero package on the car was built by RS Future. A buddy of mine, Amir Benetu, has a shop over in Rancho Cucamonga. He develops aerodynamic packages for time attack cars specifically. It's his alley. He's got the fastest NSX time attack car in the country. Super fast. His own aero package. We modeled this.
What about Boosted Boys?
That's a drag car. I hear that all the time. I did an episode about that car. I said it was the fastest street car in America because it's a street class car and it's in America. It's the fastest one. What about Boosted Boys? That's a drag car, guys. Context matters. It's not a drag car. Work with me here. Okay?
Nice. What was the first thing? Blow the whole car apart?
Yep, so blew the entire car apart, basically pulled it all the way down to the chassis itself. It's not a unibody, it's not a body on frame, it's an antiquated tube chassis. It's not a good one either. If you saw underneath this thing, it would make the work that we did this weekend look like it should be on the Pebble Beach, golf course. It's the work underneath this car is abysmal. Anybody that says these old Ferraris are crappy underneath, they're 100% right. It's just junk. It's terrible. Honestly, I'm kind of bummed. In retrospect, I really kind of wish I had just cut it all apart, cut the entire inside out, and left myself just a standing gun tube chassis, because it'd be better as an end product. But when I started the project, I told myself, I kind of want something that I'm just going to engine swap and modify, not rebuild from the ground up. That went out the window really quick.
Okay.
The toughest part of the build as a whole really wasn't the engine swap, though. It was redesigning all of the suspension. I knew I wanted these Liberty Walk fender flares on the car. I think they accentuate the lines really well. It looks mean, but I didn't want to do that and then just bolt wider wheels on the car, because that's not the right performance answer. I wanted the car to function properly. You want to see the engine?
I want to see the engine. I want to see as much as we can without being too much of a pain.
Yep, there you go. All right, and then pick up on the back. All right, back, forward, and then over the side.
So originally, V8 rear-wheel drive in the back?
Correct, and a transverse V8, so crankshaft running side to side. That's part of what makes putting a different engine in this car super tricky. You can't put a longitudinal engine. Everybody says, why didn't you pick an LS or a Coyote or a 2JZ or anything else? It won't fit unless you want to lengthen the car. So I had to pick a transverse engine package. The most common transverse layouts are front-wheel drive.
Yes.
So I thought, well, what's the best front-wheel drive layout, period? Honda K-Series. They're raced across racetracks every weekend across the country, across the world. This platform is super developed. It's really lightweight, huge power ceiling, inexpensive. I don't think it can be beat.
So incredible fab work right off the bat. Wow, that's amazing. A little turbo?
A little bit, little child's head. So no, it's a big one. This engine is built to make 1,200 horsepower at the crank, 1,000 at the wheels.
Okay.
That was kind of the benchmark. Everybody that wanted to complain about, you know, oh, why would you pull a V8 out of this car? Why would you get rid of a Ferrari engine to put a Honda 4-cylinder in it? And the answer is, well, let me show you. We will make more power than anybody's ever made out of that Ferrari V8. I promise you that. So it'll make 1,000 horsepower, and it weighs practically nothing in comparison. This engine is 400 pounds lighter than the original engine and transmission package. So we're saving a ton of weight. It's really efficient. We're getting better fuel economy if I'm actually going to drive this thing around. There's really no drawbacks. So.
And what's the transmission then?
The transmission is a Quaife 5-speed sequential gearbox. So we lost the H pattern. We lost that gated shifter. Everybody romanticizes. I've gotten some flack for that because everybody wants to hear that clinking while they shift. But that gated shifter really is only a mechanism to make up for crappy shift linkages from the past. It's not actually a good system. We got rid of it. It's gone. I sold all the parts.
Okay, and you've got a 4-cylinder, but dual exhaust.
Yeah, we got dual exhaust, so I thought it was important to keep that aesthetic touch. Everybody says, how are there two pipes? Why is only one black? Why is only one smoking? Well, we've got a wastegate dump for the second exhaust. So we get to retain the look. We're using a water-to-air intercooler, so all of the coolers on the car are from CSF. That's whose booth we were in at SEMA.
Okay, yep.
So we've got a CSF water-to-air intercooler, we've got a CSF radiator, and a CSF radiator from a Honda Civic using as a heat exchanger for the intercooler.
Oh, nice, nice. So we've got engine in the front with the Audi and all the cooling in the back. You've got engine in the back with all the cooling in the front.
Exactly. Flip-flops.
Yeah, very cool.
But no oil coolers. We've got a ton of oil capacity because it's dry sump. So there was really no reason to complicate the system, add a potential for leaks or failures or anything like that. So simple closed system. And honestly, the idea is just keep everything as simple as possible.
Okay.
No overcomplicating anything. Keep the weight down and just stick with everything that you know is tried and true, reliable, things like that.
Nice. Have you put a K-swap on anything else before?
Nope, this is my first K-swap. This is my first turbocharged build, really. I've had one turbo car in the past, but that's it. First time really modifying or using turbos and learning all the parts and pieces.
Okay.
And this entire project is also my first time TIG welding anything. When I started this project, I said, I kind of want to learn this art.
Really?
I know it's a challenge, and so it was like, hey, if you want to learn, just dive in, figure it out, commit, say, I'm not going to touch this car with a MIG. And so you can kind of see the progress as a TIG welder. The first thing I did was the turbo manifold. That was the first thing, period, you know? And then as you kind of work your way through the car, things get better and better. I'm finally pretty comfortable with it. It has taken some time to learn.
So my welder said, I'm decent. I just need 1,000 hours of helmet time, and I'll be a decent welder.
Yeah, perfect.
But looks like you got 1,000 hours in.
I'm 1,000 hours in, and I'm okay at best.
Nice. Awesome. Can we check out the front?
Yeah. So under the front of the car is literally just the cooling stack, but we've got a carbon hood, which was built by Son of Cobra. It's the duct that I designed. So I used the original hood. I cut it up, TIG welded plunge right into it, cut up and design my own vent to get to the radiator. But my sheet metal aluminum TIG work, that whole kit and caboodle, not great. I'm not good at that stuff yet. So I got it passable. I passed the whole package on to my buddy Paul and said, hey, make this look good, make it work, make a mold. and make me a carbon.
So know what you can tackle and know what needs to be subbed out and
know when to let somebody else do it, because I wouldn't have a part that looks this good without him.
Nice.
And so we've got a really solid cooling package, lots of heat evacuation. That's the purpose of the duct. So not only
air in and
air in through the bottom, air out of the top. The shape and size of the duct on the hood versus the size in the front of the car creates an effect that actually helps suck air through it. Yeah. It's not just a ram effect.
Oh, okay.
So we're actually pulling hot air out of the engine bay and pulling cold air in as we're driving the car. And as far as I understand, we've got some good aerodynamic effects from that too. So that should be good. We've got the big splitter in the front of the car. We've got the side skirts. I'm not an aero guru. I couldn't tell you all the purpose behind all of these parts or the shapes of them, the curvature to the skirts and stuff. That's Amir's wheelhouse, but he said, here's what you need, put those on the car. I said, okay, let's do that.
Nice. We went to the junkyard, grabbed some skirts off a Grand Prix GTP and molded it into our Audi. Just because it looked pretty cool.
Nice.
Can we pull the hood off just to see?
Yeah, so we can open it up. So under the hood here is the kind of the one part of the car that has not been touched yet.
Okay.
Or not, let's say not touched, but I haven't painted the chassis, so you can kind of see the custom.
Oh, it just stays up?
I'm just
You're on hinges? Yeah. Okay.
Good. So it is attached to the factory hinges. I've got a custom pedal box in here. We got rid of the whole factory brake booster and all that stuff. It kind of like turned 90 degrees. It was a really ugly system. It was really heavy. So we've got a new brake pedal to tilt assembly in there, clutch pedal, all that jazz. Converted it to a hydraulic clutch instead of a cable clutch. Yep. And then we've hardlined the car, and we've got our CSF radiator. The heat exchanger for the intercooler is underneath that, so they sit together. Yep. We've got AN lines passing through the middle of the car through the original coolant passages for the heat exchanger, and then the coolant lines for the radiator pass through the rocker panels.
Wow.
So there's some cleanup work to do up here. I'm gonna get this all cleaned up, blasted, painted as well so that it looks as good as the back of the car, but you kind of got to draw the line somewhere about like, all right, hey, it's done, it works. I don't need to spend a bunch of time trying to paint this before SEMA, especially when no one can see it.
Yeah.
But it works, and it stops, everything's plumbed. I'm happy with it.
Nice.
Originally, we had the spare tire well up here. That's what Ferrari decided should be up here as opposed to something like the fuel cell or anything like that. I've had a lot of people ask why I wouldn't put the fuel cell up here to help counter weight balance.
Yep.
But with the weight balance of the car being really delicate and how much fuel it's going to use, I didn't want my front weight changing over the course of 2 laps, right? So got rid of the spare tire, put our huge cooling stack up there, and put a badass.
What Ferrari owner would get out and change his own tire? Like,
that's a good question.
like we have an A4 that's nothing special, and it's got the oil level done electronically. I'm not gonna pop my hood and check my oil like a peasant. It's just push a button and tell me what level my oil is. Nice. And in the interior, I am not going to even get anywhere near this.
I don't think you're gonna fit.
No, and I figured that there's no even possible way that I could drive this. Although I was doing wheelies on a Power Wheels gas-powered car at Ford Fest. Yeah. So I think that's the smallest thing I've driven, but. Just the way that the steering wheel and stuff is, I'm not even gonna try. But what's going on inside? Yeah,
so the interior of this car was honestly beautiful when I started. It was a full tan interior, leather bottom to top. It was gorgeous. And I thought initially I would leave it because why would you just get rid of that? But once I kind of pictured what I wanted for the car, I knew I didn't want this like luxury vibe. I wanted a sports car. I wanted, So I kind of turned towards something like the F40 or maybe a Porsche RSR variant for inspiration. I wanted a minimalistic, simple, utilitarian interior, so I got rid of all of the Ferrari stuff, bought a big roll of carpet, completely made my own, so super lightweight. The entire carpet of the car is only about 3 pounds. Made my own interior paneling for the thing because the original bulkhead was this like really big panel that went in there. All of the electronics are hidden behind it. Wow. Reupholstered a few parts and pieces in black suede just to kind of finish everything out. We left the factory dash. That's really the only part left in it from the original car. And I think the interior turned out awesome. I'm really happy with it.
It looks amazing.
It feels really nice inside. It's cohesive. It feels complete, like an interior finished vehicle. Like you could drive it every day if you wanted to. But I know that it's really lightweight. It's really minimalistic. And honestly, it's adding no weight for a race car. I think the entirety of the interior, everything minus the seats, might be 15 pounds, including the dash. There's just nothing there.
All right, so what's next? Can we take it for a drive?
So we could. There's a couple of problems. One, it's raining outside, and that doesn't seem like the best idea. But more important than that, getting rid of the excuses, we got this car driving for SEMA, and by driving, I mean it moves under its own power, but it's not tuned yet. So hopefully in the next week, maybe 2 weeks, we're gonna get this thing over to the dyno, start the break-in process, and start the tuning process so that it can go out and really start, beating on it and having fun with it. It does drive. It could go down the street and stuff, but it is in every sense a baseline tune. So we got to get it tuned. And once we get that out of the way, I'm hopeful that I can start the process. I need to give the chassis a full once over, make sure all of the bolts are tight, torqued, all that kind of stuff. And then schedule some time out at the racetrack. I want to take it out to either Streets of Willow or Button Willow and just start turning some laps, probably pretty slowly to start, really start shaking the car down.
That's what I say, really, I just do a slow lap. And the first stretch is okay, and then hammer down and I just...
We'll have to see how it pans out. I really want to make sure that I'm responsible with the car. I could not afford to write it off. I can't afford to replace it. And it's just, I have such an investment in it from the standpoint of my time that I'd be pretty heartbroken if I rushed that process.
Right.
I was really hoping to have the car ready for track time, even just shakedown laps for this coming weekend, a week from today, because that is Global Time Attack Finals at Button Willow, my home track.
Nice.
And they've invited me out to participate. They're awesome guys, but although I could probably rush it and get it done, that seems like a bad idea to rush that process and get it out on the track as quickly as possible. So I think I'm going to spend a little bit of time here in the shop, make sure that it's ready, make sure that I'm ready, and then get out there and start having fun.
Awesome. So you can see how we get along, even though my builds don't look like this. Same mentality. We're not showing off. We're not trying to prove anything. We didn't drive the F350 over to Ford Fest. We're still working the kinks out, because once you do have that much time into it, it's a true build that actually works. And we'll get there eventually. So you guys have to stick around. Definitely head over to Mike's channel. We have to head home. So we will be back here in a month or 2 or 3, I don't even. But check out StanceWorks. You'll have constant updates there. And then I will come back and take you for a drive in the... You could drive it, and then you take me for a ride in this. I'm still not going to drive it, but I appreciate everything.
It sounds like a plan.
Awesome.
Well, thank you guys for coming to the shop, checking it out. I'm stoked that you guys like it. Thank you for all the help at SEMA, too. And enjoy the...
That's always fun. Yeah, and as always, if you guys have a build, submit it on our website. That will tell us your address, and like we said, we're in California now. We don't know where we're going to be. We will be driving our project home in around April. So if you're somewhere along the route, we can find you, and we would like to do a viewer build on your project. It doesn't have to be as in-depth as this. Simple engine swap. If it's yours and you're proud of it, we want to showcase that on the channel, because big or small, we do really understand what it takes to get it working and on the road. So get out there and work on it. Remember, if you're not filthy, you're not rich. Here we go.